And now here's Steve and Michelle.
Welcome to Mallett and Michelle. I'm Michelle and this is Steve. This is the season of allergies, time changes, and Steve and I driving each other bonkers. And even though we are not married, we're like an old married couple that bickers all the time.
You drive me more bonkers than I drive you bonkers. You are constantly just after me.
You're too sensitive. You need
Oh,
it.
you know what? That's true. I am very sensitive.
You're
You hurt my
sensitive.
feelings like daily.
Do I really? Well, then tough it
No.
up, Mallett. You little crybaby. Go to the go in the cry corner right now.
She hurts my feelings.
You scare me.
Hey, welcome to the show, everybody. We have a true Dripping Springs powerhouse here today. Olivia Barnard is going to join us in a couple minutes. She's a school board member. She's a real estate agent. She's a mom. And she's
Rocco?
conservative and confused.
Conservative and confused.
So we're excited to have her on. But first, we need to thank all these wonderful sponsors we have. And we got an announcement.
Oh, we do. That's
Yeah,
right.
I'll talk about that at the end.
That's right. That's right. So Deep Eddy Vodka Tasting Room.
Deep Eddy Vodka Tasting Room is where you go when the week has been long and you just need to chill and enjoy some smooth cocktails. Stop by there today.
I'm going to go by there at lunch. You think they're open right now?
Maybe they could deliver to us today.
Yeah, I'm going to Uber Eats during the show is what I'm going to do. Hey, Estachio, please bring me
Please,
some.
come on,
Please bring
Estachio.
me something. Swampy Tonk at Pigpen.
Tickets to Swampy Tonk 2026 are going fast. Get yours now at outhousetickets.com.
The good people at South Star Bank.
In a community that has at least 10 banks, South Star Banks knows how to set themselves apart by offering the best service and the best loan products in the business. And Kim and Brent are pretty cool, and Dylan.
And the rodeo clown that heads
And
it
the
all up.
rodeo clown that heads it all
For
up.
sure. Speaking of clowns, Mallett Integrity Team. Steve Mallett, take it away.
Here we go. You might say we do real estate the old-fashioned way, and we'll take that as a compliment because that means standing by your word, ignoring the noise so that you get the best real estate transaction possible.
The best what?
Real estate
Real
transaction.
estate.
Real estate.
Real
George
estate.
Strait transaction possible.
I thought he died.
No, George Strait's still alive. And new sponsor.
Dun, 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 dun,
Super
dun.
excited. We just met with them, and they are excited to come on board. Black Slate Construction and Black Slate Roofing are going to join us very soon. We need to produce those commercials. They're not like all the rest. They sweat the small stuff so you don't have to, and they always get it right the first time.
I am very excited to have them on.
They are good people, and they align perfectly with our values. I'm looking forward to having them come on
And
board,
I should
so.
have listened to them the first time when I had my flood. So sorry, Hunter.
Yes, you should listen to the experts like we all try and do. But in the studio right now, Olivia Barnard.
Yay!
Yeah, welcome to the studio.
Good morning.
You know
Thank
what's
you.
funny? My phone just went off, and it's
It's Hunter.
from Black Slate.
Oh, wow.
Like as I was saying, Black Slate Roofing. My
He's
phone went
listening
off,
to
so,
us.
yeah.
He's listening to us. Welcome so much to the show. Welcome to the show. We are so excited to have you. I've tried to get
Thank
you
you.
on
Yes.
for a while, and you're such a busy lady. And gosh, I adore you. I think you're my spirit animal for
Thank you.
sure.
I think you're my spirit animal as well. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Do you guys need to give a hug or something?
We
right
did.
now?
We already did. She said earlier, right before we started, she said that she likes to stop and think before she speaks. And I said, there is no thinking in
You
this
are
speaking.
exact opposites. Yes, opposites attract for sure. So, we always start off the show. You live in Dripping.
I do.
Where'd you grow up, and how'd you end up in our lovely little town? Lovely
gosh.
little town.
So I was born in Tulsa,
Okay.
Oklahoma, 1976. Grew up right outside of Tulsa in Jinx, which I tell people now is very similar to Dripping Springs. Similar demographic, kind of Friday Night Lights. This really cool mix of rural and affluent, going through a growth period.
Okay.
So super similar. Jinx was to Tulsa what Dripping Springs is to Austin.
Okay.
So grew up there, graduated high school in 1995, grew up with a single dad.
Okay.
And after that, went to Oklahoma State. I started working really young. My work ethic was established really young in life. So I worked through high school. Do you guys remember a retail store called The Buckle?
I do. That's still around.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's still around.
I don't know what that is.
Steve, they sell clothes that are in fashion.
Oh, well, that's why I don't know.
And they're at the mall.
That's exactly
That's
right.
the other thing.
They don't sell khakis and polo shirts?
They don't sell khakis
Damn
and
it.
polo
We
shirts.
might have
so-
some cool ones. 1993, an ad in the newspaper, like the black and white
Yeah.
printed newspaper that stains your hands, right? So 1993. I grew up with my dad. We didn't have any money, but he did buy me a car when I was 16. So I felt the responsibility, I needed to start chipping in. So I was looking through the newspaper, and this ad for this new store that was opening in Woodland Hills Mall. And I went, and it was literally like herding cattle. They had this long line of people that came in. And the line was, I'm not exaggerating, probably 150.
What?
Yes, and it was all teenagers.
Applying to work at Buckle?
Applying to work at the Buckle.
And like the thing about Buckle was they were commission. You were commission based.
That's right. So you want to learn. I always tell everyone who really wants to establish a work ethic, work commission or tend bar, serve people. But I remember to this day that I was one of the last 10 people in this line. 'Cause being on time has never been one of my mistakes. But I was one of the last people in line, and I will never forget. It's funny, the moments that you remember in life. I tell my son this all the time. It doesn't matter how old you get, your core memories are always there and shape your life. But so here I am, 16 years old, and the phone rang, and it was the manager of that. I mean, I remember every moment of the interview, and I remember him calling me and telling me that I'd gotten the job, and just how excited I was.
Isn't that great?
And I was so proud about that. But believe it or not, that was my first job as a 16-year-old girl working retail. And I worked that job for 7 years.
Did you really?
Became one of the youngest store managers in the company. They moved me from Tulsa to Stillwater to Austin, Texas, which obviously changed my entire life.
So that's what brought you to Austin, was the Buckle.
It is. So you just asked me where I grew up. So
wait a minute.
Tulsa.
So did they, as a young girl, 16-year-old, how did they train you? Did they kind of just take you in and you fully engulfed into the corporate life?
I have to tell the listeners that I text you, Michelle, a couple days ago, and I said, by the way, what are we even going to talk about in a couple days?
It was really funny.
So no prep, but I have to tell you, 3 minutes into this, I'm so excited what we're talking about, because this is the good stuff. So really, the company in itself was built entirely around service and giving like a different retail experience. And one of the founders, his name was Dennis Ciani or something like that. And when he created the business, they always told us this story that he was sitting at a four-way stop intersection. And retail at the time, you either were really big retail like Dillard's and JCPenney's. Small stores had not quite found their niche yet. They would come and go. And he remembered, or he would always tell the story about being at an intersection, and a mom was walking across the street with young kids, and her clothes were rather dated and tethered, but the kids were dressed to the nines. And he thought to himself, the one thing that will never change will be parents will make sure their kids have what they need, the clothes, the sports, the whatever. So he decided to kind of focus small store retail on a younger audience per se. So like your preteens and your teens and your college. And by the way, it worked. There are hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars of retail now. But what was different when you walked into the store was that they wanted their sales associates to be trained with really, really high levels of customer service. So to do that, they paid differently than anyone else. When I started in 1993, I think I made like $3 an hour plus 3% commission. But the defining difference was the gentleman that I worked for had moved there from Kearney, Nebraska. His name was Ty Cerny. And like I said, I grew up with just my dad. And you guys I'm definitely gonna cry before the day's over. In my
mission accomplished.
house, I had all of the love in the world. The most loving, unconditional single dad, but no structure, no money, no you're doing your homework and you're going to do sports, just no opportunities whatsoever, but love. Ty he had such a structured work environment, and he gave me literally the foundation of my life.
Of work ethic.
Because he saw something in me. He saw the way that I connect with people. And every person that came in, I just gravitated towards. I wanted to know everything about them, everything. And then they would tell me what was going on in their lives, if it was a first date, or they were spending their first allowance, or if they were just getting divorced. Like no matter what someone was going through, I couldn't wait literally to help them pick out a pair of jeans.
Did you work at Barton? At Barton Creek?
So funny, yes. So that's why I moved here.
I was
moved,
going to
yes,
say, you
did.
probably sold me a mom bod. My
Yes,
first
probably
pair
so.
of Melissa jeans were my favorite
Yes.
pair of jeans
Yes.
from Buckle.
Yeah, probably
So
so.
I loved
what
it.
was one of the things about retail? I owned a retail bike shop when I was
Oh,
in my
cool.
20s.
Yep.
But what was the first thing you said to people when they walked in the store to make them tell you about what was going on in their life?
I don't really remember what I said, but I know what I never said is, hello, can I help you today?
That's the thing. When I had my bike shop, I would always, don't ask
Yeah,
them that.
never.
That's good. The first thing they're going to say
Never.
is, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to. That's why I'm wondering about that, because
Yeah.
for people to open up to you, you must have,
Yeah.
maybe you just smiled and said,
did.
hey, how you
Bebop.
doing?
I remember I always had these very, what I would consider just like reading another human. I remember that, and maybe these were just like intuitive and instinctful things, but I never wanted to greet someone. This sounds so funny, but you'll understand it. I never wanted to greet someone in like the first 10 or 15 feet of the store
Yeah.
because it felt so like, oh, hello, I
Yeah.
just walked in.
Yes, and you're like, stop following
Yes.
me.
I wanted to give someone like 30 or 40 feet, and then I avoided like the very cliche things. And this is really funny. I would intentionally, even if I was doing nothing with it, but I would grab a pair of jeans, I would grab something to put in my hand to put a physical barrier between me and them, because I think it makes someone else feel more comfortable, because again, it can feel somewhat invasive
Oh, yeah.
and intrusive. And I would be very soft with that initial first eye contact. I don't know. This stuff sounds so
You know
funny,
what?
but
I'm going to take those clues when I
Yeah.
talk to Steve sometimes when I come in. I'm going to grab a bunch of stuff. And I'm going to
Eye
come up.
contact.
Can I tell you the same thing now with, and maybe we'll get to the point where we're talking about this in open houses, but even today, sometimes I still do open houses. And when people come in, I follow those exact same cues. I'm not going to be right up there at the front door because they're coming in and they're maybe not wanting to immediately talk to a stranger. And I always pretend to be busy for a moment.
That's funny.
because it softens that
yeah.
initial hello.
Yeah. That's funny because I do the exact opposite.
Yeah.
I watch for them to pull in the driveway, and I open as I know they're coming. I open the door, and
Yep.
I'm welcoming them to
Yep.
my home.
Yep.
Yeah, but
Yep.
you're right. Sometimes they're a little standoffish.
I think it started
Sometimes
though way early because you talked about in your bio your Red Wagon ice cream hustle that you did, and you basically sold
Dirty snow.
dirt ice, dirty snow. Talk about that story.
I got to tell you about the surprise bags too. I don't know where all this came from. It's so funny. So I grew up, like I said, in Tulsa, and we actually had seasons in Tulsa. And when I was probably 8 or 9 years old, and it had snowed. And I wanted to say this, my love is not of money. My love is just of doing things and making things happen. So I saw the snow, and it reminded me of ice cream. And I was like, clearly my neighbors need ice cream. So I took my little red wagon and my ice cream scoop, and I'm guessing that I must have had some ice cream cones in the house. So I literally went outside, took that ice cream scoop, and loaded the wagon up, and I made ice cream cones of the snow from the ground. And I literally remember dirt and grass coming out of them. And I wagged that little thing. And you better believe every door I went to, I told you in my bio that my nickname as a child was Bernie.
Yes.
Olivia Barnard. I didn't even realize until I was 28 years old that the Bernie, I don't even know if it came from Bernadette or Bernard. All I ever knew was that my nickname was Bernie. Didn't even, literally,
That's
never
so
even crossed my
great.
mind. So my neighbor, Bernie, of course. What do you want for it? And then I would go around my house with brown paper bags and literally collect junk.
And put
Rocks,
it in a bag.
earrings. Who knows? I probably gave away some valuables too.
Your dad's like, where are my
Yes,
car keys?
yes.
Yeah.
Where-
They're in one of these bags.
I remember one time when I was a kid, my mother was dating this guy, Bill, who became my stepfather. And he goes and he wakes my mom up and he goes, "Hey, Claudia, you need to get up and get out to the yard." She's like, "Why?" And said, "Your kids are having a garage sale and all of your
With all
furniture."
your
And my
stuff.
mom was asleep. I was like 8 years old. I was like, I saw people having
Yeah.
garage sales. I was like, well, this end table I could get like $5 for, you know? I was like, what are you doing?
So that's where your
How did we come up with
entrepreneurial
this stuff?
spirit came from,
I guess
Olivia.
so.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was learning how to sell stuff.
Yeah.
It's funny because you and I have a lot of the same things. I grew up and I would fix kids' bikes in the neighborhood, and then I tried to become a professional triathlete, and that didn't work. And then I thought, I'll open a bike shop. You know,
Yeah.
it's like you just always want to work for yourself.
Yes.
I've had 2 jobs in my life where I worked for other people, and I sucked at both of them because,
interesting.
yeah, I don't take orders from
Yeah.
people very well.
What?
As
What?
Michelle will tell you.
I'm
Yeah.
shocked.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
am just now hearing this.
Yes,
This
yes,
is shocking
yes.
news. You know what, Steve? You have mellowed out over the years.
I have yes, because you're microdosing.
Because I'm
me.
microdosing you. For sure.
So Olivia, one of the things that you do of many is you're now on the school board, which you ran for in 2022.
Yeah,
And now you're in your 2nd term.
that's correct.
Yeah. So what made you? And you moved here in what year?
I moved here in 14.
Okay. So what made you want to be on the school board?
A lot of things, but I was truly that 2020 wake up, hear me roar. I was part of the 2020. The world had changed
Yeah.
so much, and such a spotlight was on public education. And I'll go back for a quick second to 2014 if I can. My son was born in 2013. I had a fine house over in Meridian, adjacent
Yeah.
to Circle C. And I knew without a doubt my son was not even 1 year old, and I was absolutely not going to have him in AISD.
AISD. That's why we moved here
Yeah,
too.
that was just an easy decision. Was never ever considered school board, but basically 2020 and kind of seeing a lot of things that I would have liked to have seen differently and wanted to be involved. And at the time, you don't know what you don't know. So it was interesting that I wasn't like, oh, I should be a room mom or I should be on PTA. Literally, my mind just went straight to, oh, I should run for the school board.
Yeah.
And that was kind of that.
That's what made you do it.
That really was, yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
That's great.
What surprised you when you first got on the school board? Just about the knowing of what you don't know.
Yeah. So I would say there's two big paths here. There's a lot that I didn't know. A lot of things surprised me. Do you want me to talk more about actually being on the board or kind of just that whole season?
Either or, yeah.
I think that that was a very unique time for a million different reasons because everything that was going on in the world with COVID, and there was a lot of things a lot of spotlights on education for a lot of different reasons. So it was such a unique time in itself. So for me in particular, I was really surprised by how difficult campaigning was.
We've heard that. We've heard that from several people.
Why was it difficult?
For me, I think that my experience was not harder than it is on other people for sure, but you guys will understand this. So I had been personally outspoken about politics, very personally, and never mixed it professionally, never mixed it with any other ways. I have friends and colleagues of all different beliefs and all different walks of life, and it's never impacted or affected anything.
COVID changed all that.
COVID changed all of that. But on my little tiny space in the world that is like Instagram, I had started becoming more vocal about politics. And when I ran for school board, what happened was that people that did not like my personal politics made it my personality, made it my identity. They didn't understand who I was as a community servant. They didn't care about how logical and pragmatic I am.
Yep.
They didn't care about the experience and the knowledge and the care that I have about education and legislation. And that was disappointing. Uniquely for me, because my profession and my livelihood and my son's entire life is supported by doing real estate.
Yes.
What's different about real estate is that it's such a personal experience and it's such a personal choice for people. It impacted my business severely because people that decided they didn't want me on the school board because of my personal politics came after my business. And that was the most surprising.
How did they do that? In what way?
They would send, so I've seen things like this, just like sending screenshots to people and like, did you know that when you pay her a commission, you're paying for this? And they would send it with my political contributions.
We've had similar things. We had, it's been a few years ago, but Michelle posted something that somebody didn't like, and they sent me a screenshot of it and said, you should fire her. I'm like,
I'm
no,
trying.
not only,
I keep trying to fire her. She keeps showing up.
No, I was like, not only no, she is entitled to her own opinion.
That's exactly
you can't
right.
tell her what she can say and do, and
exactly
you know,
right.
and you can be offended, but I honestly, I don't care.
And this is where we need to get back as a society, because my response to that is, you know what I'm going to do? If somebody's a great chef, I'm going to patronize his business because he's a great chef.
Right.
I don't care
Exactly.
how he votes. And if somebody bakes great cakes,
Yeah.
that's who I'm going to do my business with, because I care more about who they are as a person and the service that they provide and the product that they can build. So I'm going to keep doing me, and you can do you.
That's one of the reasons we started this podcast, because we've had people that have been 180 degrees from us politically, philosophically in life, and they've sat in that chair and we become friends.
Love that.
And that we
Love
need
it.
a lot more of that
We
in this
do.
town.
We sure
Even
do.
after
In all
warnings
towns.
from people to not be on the show for one reason or
They've
the
come
other.
on and they've been thrilled to come on. Yeah, it's actually, we want people to sit in that chair that have differing beliefs, because it helps us grow. And it helps our listeners understand the world we live in, because the people that sit in there, what they were doing to you, they tried to put you in
Pigeonhole
a
you.
little box and say, this is your 100% of what you are. But when you start hearing how you grew up and how you're an entrepreneur and how you run your life and how you care for your son, now it's hard to be mean to you.
It's,
So,
I always say, I'm like, my son and I talk about this all the time. This, regardless of what's going on, right? Let's pray that the sun is still shining. There's air in our lungs. If you go out and look at what we're doing every single day, how much do these things and our opinions, my opinion and what I think and how I feel, is not going to change anyone else's life. So why should we allow it to change how we feel about people? But I agree. I believe this about politics, particularly local. 80% of the people probably agree on 80% of the things 80% of the time. Because if we really look at it, politics is policy and our tax dollars. And we can probably all agree that we want really great infrastructure. We want great roads. We want good operations for our police and our firefighters. And we want great schools.
Yes.
And we want, as parents, to have the opportunities to give our school the education that best suits our family. So if we could sit down, like you said, and have rational conversations with our friends and our neighbors and our colleagues. But back to your point, it was so surprising to me because, and I think uniquely, and this isn't the case for all candidates, but I think it was because I was in real estate. Because had I been a dentist or any of these other things, just going back to why the campaign was so hard, people, I think because real estate is so personal.
And you market yourself.
And I market myself.
Yes.
And I think that that's why it was so easy to attack my business, because my personal politics, people are like, oh, you can't.
So-
so that's why I think it was
this
easy
is
to
the
do.
part that I have not struggled with, but I'm not sure. Do you have people that once they know your beliefs want to do business with you more than they did? So, because everybody that turns away from you, there's probably somebody else that's like,
There's 10 more that will-
Olivia's, she's my
Yes.
kind of girl. I want to do business with her.
Yeah.
Have you experienced that?
I had one great experience, which was hilarious. I had a family call me, and we'd done all the, the normal intro and kind of walk the house thing. And then she did the sweetest thing. She's like, come here. And she walks me over and she's like, I got to show you something. And she walks me into the garage. It was hilarious. The garage was completely filled with Trump flags, but they were hilarious. They were like the Rambo ones.
She had a collection in there.
Yeah, and I didn't know this, but she told me that she'd been following me on. See, now I'm gonna get upset. She said that she'd been following me on social media for a long time, and that her son had just graduated from Bowie High School, and she then explained to me all of these papers that he had written from not even so much a conservative standpoint, but an honest, truthful, factual, basis, truth-based. Anyway,
Yeah.
it was,
Opinion,
yeah, and how difficult it had been for him, and being called out in front of the class, and grade deductions, and all these different things. But maybe, sorry, if that's the case, I don't know. That's one in particular because it was just cool and it was fun. But I certainly have conversations with clients if they bring it up, and they'll bring it up, and we'll talk about it and kind of talk about the way of the world. But I don't know. I try just to market my business, advertise my business, and convert with clients just about real estate and how great Austin
But
is.
you're
and how great
authentic.
Dripping Springs. Yes.
That's the thing. That's
Yes.
what you want. You don't want a real estate agent or anybody or a school board member that's going to blow
Correct.
smoke up your ass, that's going to tell you what you want to hear. You want somebody that is stays true to your conviction. You know what you want.
Yes.
And you're right. Whether or not you believe the same way that I do or not, what does it have to do with my business?
It's funny. I'll keep this very brief, I promise. But what's so funny is the reason that I talk about my politics is not because I wave this big flag and I'm like, my way is the right way. The reason I started doing it is because I'm sorry, I'm digressing here.
No.
I have so many friends who happen to be maybe minority or maybe who are gay, who do vote Republican, who are conservatives. And I got so sick of how they were being treated and they were being misrepresented. The reason I started speaking up is because so many people know me to be a great professional, a wonderful mother, just a good person. I've just things that you're involved in and things that causes that you support. And I thought naively, I want people to see that just normal, nice people like me can. So it wasn't me going like, oh, I'm this and I'm that. I just wanted to share that, hey, it is your neighbors, it is your colleagues, it is maybe the lady at the coffee shop that vote just based on, I vote on these things: foreign policy, national security, energy, and economy. That is it. Mm-hmm. Those 4 things are the only things that our federal government that we should be voting for federally. But anyway, sorry, I digress.
And to kind of piggyback on that, and going back to that box analogy, they're on both sides. They try and some people on the right try and make everybody look like they got 5 nose rings and purple hair, and obviously not. That's a small, tiny part of the progressive left. And then on the other side, they try and make everybody that's a conservative wants to kick everybody out of the country, and
Handmaid's Tale.
And abortion is everything. Yeah, and it's not. It's like so far from the truth. Yeah, same with us. We have people come on here all the time, and we want to appreciate them and love them regardless of their political affiliations.
We've got to get back to that.
Yeah.
How do you think we get back to that?
That's a good question.
How do you think that we
bridge that gap?
I mean, is it up to us individualistically? Ooh, that was a big word. Yep. For us to go out there and say, okay, just kind of like what we're doing, we open this chair up to everybody and sit and have a conversation.
Well, I think that's part of it, but I also think it's recognizing that the person that you're talking to is another human being that's had all the similar kind of ups and downs in their life and challenges and tragedies, and how they ended up there is okay. You can still be friendly to them regardless of how they vote. Pull the lever.
I agree.
Always look for the 80%.
Yeah, that's big.
Do you have any ambitions to kind of go beyond the school board and, just a higher office?
Not anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I considered running for state rep because legislation is critically important. This is such a great conversation. So you talk about how do we get there? A couple different ways, I think. I think having conversations like this, I think continuing just to show our neighbors and our colleagues who we are, like who we really are when we're doing business and we're just stopping at the coffee shop or whatever. But I think that, in my opinion, media is the biggest problem. So this is another show, and I know you guys have talked about it before, but one, we have a problem with media and smartphones and internet and apps with our children, but we have an adult problem. We have an adult problem. So in my opinion, the lack of information, we have a civics problem, and I do think that part of this is education in the last 20 or 30 years. I know a lot of adults that have no idea how legislation works in Texas. So this goes back to my potential aspirations. At this time, because of what I went through a campaign, I don't think that I have any future aspirations. However, if I did, in the future, it would definitely be legislation, because not only is it important, but I think educating from a civics perspective and getting more people involved in that, because our legislators every 2 years, they disappear for 180 something days, and they do their hot topic Instagram post, but are we really educating our voters on how legislation works and encouraging people to be part of that process? So I feel it's just talking more, caring less, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like just caring less about how someone votes, care more about, living together. And
Yeah.
yeah.
So you're not aspiring to a higher office because
At this time
because of your experience running for the school board and how ugly that got, and as you go up higher in office, it tends to get uglier and uglier.
It gets uglier. I'm really, really happy with what I'm doing. So kind of going back to your question.
You're really good at what you do.
Thank
too.
you. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's extraordinarily rewarding. I love being on the school board. I love serving our community. And one thing that I promised when I ran was to be a conduit, right? So to be someone who communicates clearly and concisely between the dais and our community. And what I try to do is, I wouldn't say dispel, but I know that the community at large has perceptions just as I did about what's happening in public education. So what I do in my personal time, not just when we're at meetings, and taking action, is when I go into our campuses, I'm constantly trying to share that information with our community and saying, come in with me and I'm going to show you what's happening. Like, let me show you actually what's in our libraries. Our libraries in 2026 are still filled with beautiful books.
Yeah.
Our classrooms, we still use boards that the kids write on, and we use collaboration and all of these different things. I was in classrooms last week. We have so many amazing life-changing teachers. And so much of this noise takes away from that, and that worries me about our future because we need people coming into education. When I ran, I said, and I have no qualms about this, I said this to Republicans, do not expect me to be the one going in to burn it down. I am the one that's going in because I genuinely care for this state. I genuinely care about education. I genuinely care about every single child. My heart bleeds when I see a child, y'all. When you see children that maybe, in education, you see everything, right? You see kids that come to school well-fed, well-dressed. They know their ABCs. They speak 2 languages by kindergarten. And then you also have a kindergarten where a kindergartner maybe who has come from an abusive situation where there's not 3 meals a day.
The underserved of our
underserved. That is a reality that public educators deal with.
And even though we're an affluent country,
absolutely.
Area,
even here,
we're probably one of the richest school districts in the area. Yeah, and maybe in Texas.
It's a very small percentage, but it happens. And then you look at our beautiful, beautiful special education programming, and I have such a heart for every single student and making sure these kind of my things, but I think I focus on education, safety, and the experience of every single child every single day. And if you focus on those things, there's no way that you have time to include politics in that.
Do people stop you at HEB and go, what about these school taxes? Do they talk about the school tax? Because I've seen you debunk misinformation that is out there on Facebook. If somebody on the neighbor's page or whatever is talking about something, I love the way you go and you clearly explain it. You're not demeaning them. You're not, you're dumb, which I probably would do. You dumb. Here's
you would definitely do that.
I can't run for public office.
How did you get out of bed this morning?
Yeah,
Let me just explain this to you.
But let's talk about school taxes.
Yeah,
because
please.
that's Steve's favorite subject, school taxes too. Right?
Well, it's hard when your kids are in school.
It's
you're
easier.
like, it makes more sense when your kids have all graduated and they don't even live here anymore, and you're still paying that.
And you're close to 65 years old.
Yeah, it
right?
starts to change.
I'm going to relate with you for 1 second. So I'm a landlord. I own 7 homes in 3 school districts.
Okay.
So I pay about $90,000 worth of property taxes a year.
Yeah.
I have 1 child that will be in public school for 12 years of his life. So I think about that every year in January.
Yeah.
I feel your pain. So first of all, I acknowledge it and I feel it. And I think that we have a serious taxation problem in this state.
Is it the Robin Hood thing?
I was kind of going to get there. The biggest thing that I want to help, I have such a problem saying, like, I want to educate people and I want to teach people, because then it's like the response is like, okay, I don't want to make people feel like they don't know. But what I find that a lot of people don't know or don't understand is that when you look at tax levy, how much tax a local ISD collects, we collect I'm sorry if that keeps making noise. We collect tax, and I want everyone to get this image. We collect tax based on rooftops. Every single structure we collect the taxes for, unless of course they have like a military exemption, or there's very few exemptions, but 99.9% of if it's a rooftop, the district is collecting tax on it, and that all goes into one big bucket. And let's just say that's $110 million or so for the district. But we only keep per pupil. So depending on the number of students that are enrolled that year, so let's say we have 8,500 students, all of that bucket, all of those rooftops, 100 and whatever million dollars, well, now we have to give all that money back that's not based on the number of pupils. So now we have in a bucket however many pupils we have. It gets even lower after that.
Yeah.
The reason it gets lower after that is because we have to take what's called the ADA, the average daily attendance. So the state takes away from your funding, and what we mean when we say funding is the ISD collects all the tax. When we say state funding, that's how much of the money, the tax that you collect, that you get to keep. It's kind of like the state gives it to you, but really you've already collected it. It's just how much you get to keep. So our DSISD, our average daily attendance is typically about 96%. But you go into some of these districts that are more socially, economically challenged. I mean, you're looking at sometimes 90%, 91%. Wow. You have very high absent rates, just transportation issues, employment issues with parents, a lot of different things that impact children getting to school every single day. So it goes down. In the state of Texas, a school district gets to keep about $6,200 per child to educate.
Okay.
For a year?
A year. And that goes across the entire state to create equity, so that in a property wealthy district like we are, and then you go into an urban city where there's not a lot of tax collection, or you go into a poor rural area where there's not a lot of tax collection, the state says every child in the state is going to get the same $6,200. And then it's up to the good stewardship of that district to run effectively and efficiently and be able to hire. Now, that $6,200 per student, you're talking about all of your maintenance and operations, paying teachers, paying administrators, keeping lights on, paying insurance, paying custodians, paying coaches, keeping all of your programs running. Every single thing about operations, gas in your buses. Our buses run almost 5,000 miles a day.
Oh, geez.
Wow.
And that we serve about 7,000 meals a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is the debt service on bonds included in that
That's separate.
6,200?
So that's your maintenance and
yeah.
operations.
Yes.
That's your maintenance and operations. And then the second part is what's considered your INS. I don't want to bore everyone, but your interest and shrinking. So that's the part that's no different from you going out and getting a mortgage because you buy a new house, or getting a home equity line of credit because you're building a pool or adding on to the house. So you have your maintenance operations, but go ahead.
No, this is fascinating to me. So the interest on the bonds, does the state give you that money additionally to pay that? So you have your $6,200 per pupil. That's all you get. But how do you pay the debt service
That's a great question. So I want to be fully factual. The $6,200 per student is all you get for a tier 1 student, meaning a student who is not included in any special population. Okay. So my son, for example, is in gifted and talented. So he actually gets an additional, he's funded higher. If you have student who is in like English as a second language, or students who are in special education, if you have special population students, they have additional funding because you're talking about special programming.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So they might get stipends like a few $100s or whatnot. Then INS. So when you picture a growing area like Dripping Springs, and this is what I did a drum roll. This is what I actually love about Texas. And what's so interesting is this is where I find myself to truly be deeply conservative. But I think today, at the beginning, you introduced me as conservative and confused, because I find myself to be so deeply rooted in true conservative values, but I find sometimes that today's conservative messaging conflicts with that. And this is where I love having conversations with conservatives where there's conflict. There's this taxation is theft and everyone wants to vote no. And I want to sit down with people and say this. Because we have no state income tax, we actually, as conservatives, the state of Texas has given us, the voters, more control than most any other state has. We get to decide when we build a police station. and a fire department
Right.
and roads.
Because we
and
vote on these
schools,
bonds.
Because we vote on them. So then shouldn't we want the best roads and roads to be built on time? And shouldn't we want the most educated, knowledgeable, capable, articulate people making those decisions? Shouldn't we be great at planning ahead and forecasting demographic and forecasting population? Don't we want the best that we can have for our police department?
Yes.
I think we all want that. I think on paper that sounds really good, but then at the same time, you have somebody who's a senior citizen, 65 years of age, right? And they are being taxed out of the house that they've lived in for 30 years. And I know Governor Abbott has put forth, we'll do away with school taxes. I don't know how that is going to work, but I mean, it sounds good in an election year, right? But
it was when you turn 65?
When you turn
his proposal was you turn 65, you stop.
And I'm all for that. I really am.
Yeah.
I'm all for that. But I don't know how we get there. How do we continue to push that? Because we cannot also. Yes, I do believe we should have the best educated students in our community, but we should also take care of our senior citizens who have helped build this community.
I agree. And so on Abbott, this is again a problem with politicians from both sides. These plans, these great plans, come up every few years from our state representatives, our congresspeople, and our governor. Show me how. I said this to a state representative that's running right now, because necessarily you still have to pay for these things. You have to pay for maintenance of these things. So where is that money going to come from? Are you suggesting that you're going to give us a state income tax? Like, where is it going to come from?
Yeah.
In my opinion, the first thing that needs to go away is Robin Hood. I believe that because in dripping alone, we're about 10% of our tax levy goes back to the state general fund. And they would have you believe that that goes into Robin Hood. Here's the problem with that. Legislatively, there's no law that keeps that money in education.
Just like the lottery, how they touted the lottery.
Does it kind of go into a slush fund?
That's exactly right.
Wow, I
so
did
the
not
state
know that.
I didn't either.
Yes, the state collects about $5 billion a year now from the entire state. It's about $5 billion a year in this, what used to be called Robin Hood is now recapture. So what they do is they spread that across. And certainly we all want all children to be educated. However, the overage does not stay in education. And I have been pushing this for 5 years.
That needs to be changed.
It needs to be changed. So why aren't Republican legislators doing it? It's weird to me. But if you do that, it's a guesstimate, but seriously, it could be about 10%. The other thing that is very frustrating to me about taxation, and you guys particularly will understand this because of real estate, I have always been staunchly against being able to increase our tax assessable value by 10% per year. And then the way they sell it is, it can only go up 10% a year. Are you kidding me? The compound of that, and that's where you're talking about pricing people out. So in my opinion, it should be far less. I'm talking like 1% to 2% per year. And then our municipalities just simply, we have to learn to
live within the means.
So talking as a conservative, that's the problem. And I think that the Dripping Springs schools fiscally are probably run better than just about anything. But where people start to go wrong is they look at the city of Austin and they go, I just read an article a week ago. They spent, I can't remember, $28 million on consulting fees, and they have no results from that. They don't know where the money was spent. They don't know who paid it. They without a vote, they tear down the convention center to build $1 billion. So
they spend money on a logo rebuild.
Yeah, that was
$1 million.
So the reason people get skeptical of these things is not because of the way the school district here is run, but because they hear, these things in Minneapolis and, all this, the money that's paid in, the fraud, the waste. And so that kind of,
so valid.
It is valid, but it kind of like
infuriating.
People think, well, all these people, they sit up there and they're, on their thrones and they just collect all this money from us and they just spend it willy-nilly. I don't believe the school district here does that, but that's the people that vote against these things. That's where that feeling's coming from.
They feel like you're right. You feel like you're just being cheated in every single turn. That you're like, everything is a scam. Everybody just wants my money every single time. And I'm about charity, about giving back. I'm from the Rio
Well-
Grande Valley. I know about the underserved, right?
Yeah.
I was the minority growing up there.
Yeah.
I know about that. So how it was touted in the valley, the Robin Hood plan was like, look, I did safety and security audits for public schools for a long time for Senate Bill 11. I was in some of the poorest of the poor schools all across Texas, and I saw how definitely these budgets were being mismanaged. And I would go down into the valley, and I was like, this looks like a college campus. Like, what the heck? Some of these are, and everybody's on free lunch. And
I was going to say something. Can I
Yeah.
say something about that? So I actually, when I started really studying bonds, so the way oh gosh, you guys, we're going to talk forever.
I would love that.
Once you open your community up to doing these like community committees, your bonds, what you build, should reflect your community. So
100%
you
agree
have
with that.
these community committees. So we see stadiums and districts like Prosper, where they build like multi-$100 million.
My daughter lives up
stadiums.
in there,
Yeah.
and I was there this weekend, and I was with a girl that goes to Dripping Spring, or she goes to Sycamore Springs Middle School, and she goes, "What is that?" And I go, "That's their high school stadium."
Literally insane. And clearly nothing like that would happen here. But I'll tell you what I learned in starting to study bonds. So one, thank you, because I do believe that things are really well managed here. And two, I agree with both of you 100%. The reason we are where we are is because government has mismanaged money for so long and taken advantage of taxpayers for so long. And education and action, all the things are how we get there. Bonds. When I started studying bonds and looking at these different socioeconomic districts, what I found, and I certainly hope that no one takes any offense to this, what I found was that underserved districts tend to really overspend on bonds. And I think
Really?
yes,
Interesting.
because I think what happens is it's so shiny and so new and so fancy and getting sold this, and I think it's a disservice of
It's
maybe
also
the architect.
very, very corrupt.
There is a business there's businesses in Texas that go around trying to have school districts and cities do these bonds. They make all their money by putting these bonds together.
This is going to be such a good conversation.
But let me
Let's
tell
talk
you,
about that.
I know that down in the valley, because I saw it firsthand, and I was talking to teachers, and I think I've told you this story before. I went and did an audit, and there was a dead possum underneath the sink when I was doing my audit, right? And I went to the teacher and I said, "Why is this there? Why isn't the maintenance taking it out?" And they said, "Well, let me tell you. Because they were the science teacher. Because I did not vote for the mayor." And I was like, "What do you mean you didn't vote for the mayor?" "Well, I didn't vote for the mayor. I didn't support the mayor, and the mayor's brother is head of maintenance." And she goes, "Wait till you go visit my husband, who's the principal at this school, and see how that gets treated."
Stop.
And it was like, it's like, you scratch my back, and the valley is very much like that. Valley, Port Arthur, I'm gonna just throw it out there. Port Arthur's like that.
Who you know.
It really
Yeah.
wasn't. I was so disgusted
That is
by that. I was like,
awful.
oh. And my father was a city manager when I was growing up too. So it was like,
That's
this is
That is so infuriating to hear things like that. I was telling Rocco yesterday, and it kind of is it's hard because I'm in it and I'm in so deep, and I look at our financial reports monthly, and I know how well we're managing
Yeah.
it here, but I also have the exact same criticisms and frustrations that are legitimate. Rocco and I were literally driving yesterday, and we were talking about government spending, because my son's even way more conservative than I am.
I love that.
It's hilarious.
And he's how old?
12.
I love it.
He
love it.
reads Thomas Sowell. He's a big reader. But we were discussing it yesterday, and I said, we were driving, and I said, it's kind of like if you were to tell me that a screw is loose, I'm just going to go tighten the screw. If the government tells you the screw is loose, they're going to tell you that they need a team of 8 to go fix it.
Yep.
They have to increase the tax because it's going to cost $100,000 and it's going to take 12
to set it
months.
up for
and we
bid.
need to
And then it's
study
going
it.
to, yes.
Yep.
And he just looked at me, and my son's so funny because he thinks he
Thinks he's
typically
smart,
is a lot
yeah,
smarter
yeah.
than me. And it's the only time he's ever said, he's like, "Mom, I'm going to use that one day."
Yeah.
But that is the problem. And this is why I like Trump so much. Bureaucracy is a problem. Red tape is a problem. If you guys haven't watched, there was like a documentary years ago on how he ended up building the skating rink. at Central Park. Like the government had been working on it literally for like 12 years and were way over budget and kept paying contractors and not getting it done. And Trump was just sad in his city not seeing it done for the kids. And he called the city, I think the city manager, and they wouldn't, he wanted to pay for it privately. And they wouldn't let him do it, wouldn't let him do it.
Because all those consultants and those contractors and those union people wouldn't make their money.
Milking.
Yeah, but they wouldn't make their money if Trump just came in.
But do you know he ended up doing it?
Yeah.
They finally gave up. This was in maybe the late 80s. They finally gave up. They let him come in and do it. He did it privately. And do you know he had that thing done in 4 months after they had spent millions and like a decade?
Yeah.
And he's like, Merry Christmas,
So,
everyone.
Olivia, how
and it was built safely. It was
That's
built
exactly
correctly.
right.
It was built to code. It was all those things.
Exactly right.
You and I were entrepreneurs. We run these businesses. Michelle and I have a couple businesses together, and people that have not owned a business and dealt with these bureaucracies, because you get an issue, a fire comes up in the morning at your place, you figure out how to put it out, boom, we're going to get that done, and you're moving on to the next one. You go to a bureaucrat with that, and you're right, it's like, okay, well, you got to send me these 40 forms, and you got to pay this $500 fee, and then we'll present it here, and then in a month you'll get that. I was like, I don't have time for that, but that's the way.
Because I'm running a business.
Yeah, I'm running a business. I need this issue. I need this fire put out in the next 30 seconds. Don't talk to me about a month and a half.
So how do
That
you
stuff drives me crazy.
propose that the average person fix this? How do you, whether it's getting involved or how?
I thought you were doing like,
no,
God's going to come down.
I'm almost embarrassed. I'm going to give another Trump example, but I am. My son and I just went Wednesday. We had to get an emergency appointment, 5-day appointment to get his passport. We had been trying to get his new passport. He had one as an infant. And then as a minor, you have to get a new one. It's not a renewal, right? So we had been waiting weeks. I did everything on time, did everything the way I was supposed to. And I won't bore you with how awful this experience has been. Yeah. The 800 number, the waiting, the website, passport.gov.
I've been trying to get my notary renewed for 3 weeks now.
This is the problem. So as we are, Wednesday, I have to take him out of school. My son hates missing school. I don't want to have an absence, right? But we have to at this point. We're traveling literally tomorrow. So we have to drive down there. Of course, they won't give us an appointment until 5 days before travel, but we go down. We leave our house at 2:30 a.m. We get down there at like 6.
You're in Houston?
Pitch black.
Is that where you went?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's pitch black.
There's
it's
400 people in line.
Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly right. And then after our appointment, we still have to wait like 4 hours. So the woman in line was so, and I had been under so much stress at this point. I was really so stressed. And we're out sitting in the car for like 4 hours, and you can imagine I hadn't slept at all. And anyway, the woman in line, all I did was ask her a question because she had given me a direction, and I literally said, I'm so sorry, what does that mean? And she looks at me, swear, and she just goes, go sit down. I promise you I'm the nicest person here. The head swag and everything.
Yeah.
Here I am 12 weeks into just trying to get my son's passport. And I am like, check all the boxes, everything's right. And I was really kind of like in tears at this point. So we wait in the car. And I said this to my son. I said, the government should be ran. And I gave the examples of the times that we have spent on Trump properties. You walk in and it's like, hello, Miss Barnard, how are you today? Can I get you a bottle of water? Oh, I see that you have your bags. May I take those for you? Oh, you've got an appointment coming up at 3 o'clock. I believe that the way to make things better is to make government run more efficiently. That means happier employees, better trained employees, less bureaucracy. And I believe that there's a way to do that, but it has to come through people and atmosphere
and more from the top down and not the bottom up. When I get in those situations, what pops in my head, and I never say it out loud because they'll be even meaner to you, but is if I'm in this office,
you're not supposed to say it out loud.
If this was well, you don't, because they'll actually treat you worse. If this was a private business, they would go out of business in a month.
Yes.
The only reason this is existing this way is because I have to interact with these people.
Well, maybe if we stop giving money to fake daycares, we could pay our state and government workers more money.
Can you imagine if we actually knew? I mean, I don't think any of us could possibly comprehend if we knew. Remember the Obama, the $7,000 or $8,000 tax credit that was taking place in like 08 or 09? Did you know that in Texas, for listeners, this was a first-time homebuyer tax credit that if
Oh, I
you bought a
remember that,
house,
yeah.
you got a tax credit, and it was a legitimate check. It was $7,000 or $8,000, and it was great. It worked. It stimulated the market, which stimulated the economy. It was wonderful. Do you know just in Texas, $75 million in fraud because checks and balances. So all people had to do was create a HUD and mail it in.
Oh.
So there was, who knows if they were even in the country, just mailing these, and mailboxes were just being flooded with these checks. Can you imagine if we took one random year and just God showed us, right? Like if we actually
just went through the books and said, that's fraud, that's fraud,
Yeah.
that's fraud.
That was
The
like
billions
the-
and billions
What
of
was
dollars.
the
that could be
loans
saved.
that were happening in COVID? And I remember was talking to you,
Oh,
and you were
the
like,
PPP loans.
yeah, you said, I'm not taking it. I refuse to take it.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
Because
But
too
I
many
know-
people. I know someone in Austin that took it and just went and bought a Range Rover. Someone that was
there were
a
people
realtor
that
making
were
$500,000
yeah,
a year.
there were people that were buying Lamborghinis with government
disgusting.
money. I know. But we started out this conversation before we started recording talking about I need to sleep at night. I don't.
Yes.
I would feel taking taxpayer money and using it in an illegal way I would not sleep well at all.
It's vile.
Yeah.
It's vile. I think that we can run government efficiently. And
I wish there was a way where there was like a magic wand, go boop, and all this stuff. And it's a huge thing. There's trillions of dollars. You're always going to have some stuff on the fringe. Unfortunately, the fringe now that is fraud is a huge part of those trillions of dollars.
Yeah.
If it was 0.5% or 0.25%, we'd all be like, gosh, it's cost of doing business, but it's probably 20%.
every government program, they always say like the criminal minds, they're always a step ahead. I'm with you. I mean, we can't even fathom how bad it is. But once you put a government program out there, entities and people are going to formulate a way to infiltrate
That's
it.
right.
And we don't have the mechanisms in place. I think one of the ways to get better is, it's kind of funny taking this back to like ISDs, but school districts, and not that there haven't been districts and whatnot that have done wrong things, but I don't think that there's an entity that has more like transparency that's required. Like our finances, our financial reports are published monthly.
Right.
More entities should have to have the same level of transparency. But I think one of the biggest problems on every level is the NGOs, the non-government organizations.
I know. Which are basically slush funds that
funds.
these
Totally.
cities, whatever, give money to those people. Those people take those as paychecks, and then they make contributions to the people that gave the money to the NGOs.
And what business?
We've talked about that a lot.
What business of the government is it anyway? Because most of them are things that we should be doing, honestly, as individuals, through our church or nonprofit organizations. The government has no business spending billions and billions and billions of dollars on homelessness.
Which is
Yeah.
God,
Oh,
don't
you
get me
just
started,
you,
Olivia.
You gave
just-
Steve's
yeah,
favorite
this is,
topic.
But
Tell me when it's ever worked. It hasn't.
It has
and it
not
never
worked.
will.
Yeah, and it's
made a lot of NGOs very wealthy.
Very wealthy. You look at those payrolls; that's insane what they make. But I was going to say, you mentioned you spend $90,000 in property taxes. I spend more than that in the properties that I own. And if I could keep a little bit of that, then you just were saying, I could contribute more to the community. I could give more to some of these wonderful nonprofits, hometown missions, and some
Because
of these
you
other things.
now are taking care. You're not relying on the government.
That's right.
You are now taking
and
care
there's
of.
not 9 bureaucrats between me. So
Exactly
I
right.
give $1,000 to the government, and hometown missions
They get
at the end
$5.
they get $5. If I keep my $1,000 and I give it to hometown missions, they get a check for $1,000.
Yeah.
You can help a lot more people.
Yeah.
That's one of, if I had to put my conservatism in a nutshell, that's what it would be.
The
I know how to
financial.
spend my money better than the government does. I do want good roads. I want
too.
I want fire and police, and I there's certain services that we have to have, and I'm happy to pay for those. Some of this other stuff, though, we need to
I'm
pivot
with you.
to
Well,
something
I was
else.
just gonna say
I'm with you.
we're gonna hard pivot for a second because we have we're having a long podcast. But if you're still with us, which I'd love that you are, I want to just touch a little bit on you're a beautiful single woman, and you're dating in Austin, Texas, as a conservative woman. How hard is that, or is it hard?
Well, the funny thing is, you said I'm dating in Austin. I am dating. I very, very rarely date in Austin.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
Yeah, I have. The answer to that would be that it would be really, really hard. I am ridiculous. I have the most I don't want to date anybody in real estate. I don't want to date anyone. I'm just weird. I don't want to date.
That's not
real.
weird.
You
No,
know what you
no.
want.
Don't want to date a single dad in drippings. I'm very
Because they've already had all of the other single moms in dripping.
I am so self-conscious, and I don't want to. I really want to change this about myself, but I'm kind of a little too self-conscious of oh, well, if someone were to see me out with this person and make this assumption or this assumption. But I will tell you, I have had some of just really, I've met some wonderful, wonderful people and have had some really great, brief, but just really incredible, fun love stories. I've had some great experiences.
You have some
but I haven't
great
met the one.
adventures.
I do.
Especially since I'm on your Instagram and I'm friends with you, so I see all the things that you're doing, and like I said, you're my spirit animal. I love to do what you're doing sometimes, but you said you don't have any hobbies, and on your Instagram, you're cooking and you're great with your video transitions and things like that. I have a funny question. Who do you think runs the White House Instagram? Because you're in those circles, and I want to know. Do you have any insight? Is it Barron?
No, it's not Barron.
Okay.
It's not Barron. But can I just tell you about Barron really quick?
Yes, I'd love
So
it.
I am good friends with Barron's best friend's mom.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yes.
And I cannot tell you what, I don't know Barron personally, but just over the years, that kid is going to do things on
You can
his
tell.
own
Yeah.
in life. Incredibly
He's like 7
smart.
feet tall,
7
too.
feet tall. He watches the world.
Do you know what he whispered in
at
Biden's ear?
large. I don't. But he is. He's going to do some really, really, really cool things. So I know that it's a young person, and I know that they laugh, and I know that Trump does not type his own stuff. He's always telling people what to say. I can tell you one thing that's been just so disgusting to me. It's so funny, but now it's kind of like a business to create fake posts that he didn't really do.
Yeah.
And that's just so
The AI deep fake.
The AI deep fakes are kind of annoying.
Well, and then like CNN and some of these mainstream news organizations report that as news. It's like, come on.
I know.
You only have to scratch the surface to realize that's fake.
Can we just fact check, please? But no, I don't know who's doing it, but 90% of them, I literally, if I see it on my phone, I'm like, yes.
I love
fun.
them.
I love them. Like the Top Gun music.
Yes.
And look, we can have a separate conversation on how we feel about Iran and get really deep into actions and whatnot. But to remember how strong the United States of America is, and to remember how strong our military is, and to have pride in our uniform.
It's back, baby.
It's back. It's
being,
back.
Being a prideful America, there's
Yes.
American. There's nothing wrong with that.
I agree,
I love that.
100%.
I love it.
And you have to wake up every day and realize how blessed we are to live
Yes.
in such a great country.
Yes, the best, the
Yeah,
best.
I mean, wouldn't want to live anywhere else. But
And you've lived all over the
I
world
have,
practically.
and I am right where I want to be. I mean, and specifically Dripping Springs. Like I run into people all the time, and they go, "Well, if you could live anywhere, I want to live in Dripping Springs."
When you and I, we're both empty nesters, and we both have decided to maintain not only because we have the business, but it's beyond that. It's like we are rooted in this community.
love
We've
that.
been here 20 years, and it's like
all our
this is
friends are
home.
here. We know the ins and outs of the people that
I
live
got my
here and the
HEB.
businesses.
You need to stop
Yeah,
going to
I
my Nutty
know.
Brown
Stop it.
HEB.
Stop
Stay
it.
at your own HEB.
I make
We've
sure
got it so good.
Yeah,
We've got it
we
so
do.
good.
We do.
Can I answer a question that you asked a minute ago? Like, what do we do from here?
Yeah.
And I don't want to go back to the political thing, but I believe that one of the biggest things that we do from a political standpoint on taxes is holding Republicans more accountable.
I will agree with that.
That's what I think it is.
Yeah, because sometimes they're just
They don't get a
giving
pass.
They're giving it lip service and they're not doing anything about it. Yeah, this is a much simpler thing, but we've been talking about the time change. You know how Trump ran and he said, we're going to do away with the time change. And I know what happens. These politicians, they get up there in Washington and half the people tell them to do one thing and then the other half tell them to do something completely different, and they know they'll lose the support of whatever side they go against. And so then they get stuck and then they don't make any decisions. And that's the worst thing that can happen for the American people.
I think he said that was one of the biggest lessons that he learned from his first administration to the second administration, is because he went in there and he didn't really understand how the system worked.
Yeah.
And I think what happened in those 4 years that he was out, I wouldn't necessarily call it a revenge tour, but he started figuring out, like, okay, look, they were puppeting me, and I'm not doing that anymore. And I loved it. He came back even more with a vengeance. And I'm telling you, I have such a crush on Marco Rubio, and what an amazing person. And that man's going to be president one day.
It's 100%. looking like that's where the tide is
It
turning
almost
for
looks
support.
like he is a front runner over Vance.
You think so? Really? Interesting.
Some, and I don't know how accurate it is, but there's some polling right now that's saying that. Yeah, he's rising.
Well, either one would do a great job.
Yeah, I think so too.
But Olivia, I want to talk to you. In your bio, you mentioned about retirement, and you're way far away from retirement, but you think you're already thinking about it. And so what's a peaceful retirement look like for you? What is? Man, personally, I'm a few years away from that, but it's on the horizon. But what does that look like for you?
Just exactly what you said, just peaceful. I lost my dad. Like I said, he raised me on his own, and then he went and died. Jerk. No.
Oh.
He died when I was 23, and I grew up with, I grew up with I grew up with nothing, and he died with nothing. So I think I have some issues. I'm scared of that. I'm scared of getting sick. I'm scared of being old and alone. So I want to be healthy, and I want to be financially free, and I want my son to never have to worry about me being a burden to him. So I just picture, I picture something like Fredericksburg. I picture this really precious little single-story house, and maybe a second chapter love. So if either of you meet my next husband before I do, let me know.
Her number is 512.
Yeah. That's it. Like, the biggest thing is health, financial freedom, and
having a bunch of grandbabies running around in the front yard.
Rocco's so funny. He wants 7 kids.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Wow.
He wants to get married young. He wants to get married at like 23 or 20. And I tell him all the time, of course, things can change, but he really thinks that he wants to get married young, have 7 kids. He wants a Victorian house. He's so funny.
It's so cool that a young man like that would have a vision for what his future is going to look like.
He bought his first house at 8 years old.
No way.
Swear, over here, he owns a house in Retreat at Dripping. And I kid you not, I have this on, I hope I still have it. I had it on video. It was funny thing. We're walking through the house when it was done, and I'm recording him, and he's kind of doing the Vanna White, like when it becomes a rental property. And we're upstairs, and I was expecting him to say, and this is the bedroom, and this is the bedroom, like for a potential renter. And he's 7 at the time. And he turns around and he goes, he can't say his R's really well. He's like, and this is for my daughter.
That's where he's going to live.
Set
That's
him
awesome.
up very well. That is
Yeah.
good parenting there. You did a great
Thank
job.
you. Real estate, never going to have a pension, never going to have anything like that.
Yep.
So, and honestly, I'm not the best saver because our business is like this. So I did 2 things. When I found out I was pregnant, I started at $529, and I've never put more than $200 a month into it, but that $200 a month I've never not. And then I bought that house. And those 2 things will be...
That's a great legacy.
That'll be
there.
what he gets, and that's it.
That's amazing.
Do you I don't know if I've fallen into this or not, but it seems like when I was younger, I thought, when I get this much money, I'll be set for life. And then I got that much money, and then I went, okay, well, I need double that, and then I got that, and then I went like, oh, that's not enough, I need more and more. And I feel like that's part of for me, I think that's where I'm not going to find peace, because I'm always going to have this in the back of my mind. I got to make a little more, I just need to pad that a little bit more. Do you find yourself doing that?
You know, when people ask, like, if you have regrets, you know,
Yeah.
there's a lot of things I just wish I had done. I don't know. So I don't know what the answer is. I know for me, there's just things that I wish I would have done differently financially, because I look back at the money that we've made.
I know, huh?
That we've made. So I don't know. I just know that having a house paid off, having enough money to live on in the bank, I don't have to have, I don't know. I don't look at it like an X number. I do think that I must have some hope or faith that there is this future that has, another person, another person in it. So I don't think mine doesn't have a number, but it definitely has a picture. Like I can see the house.
Oh, I love that.
I can see the house, and I can see the peace to me comes from just knowing that there's no bills.
Yeah.
And that there's enough to live on.
That's what I need. I need to just start envisioning what retirement looks like and not worrying so much
And
about
don't worry
each
about-
and every dollar and how this is going to be paid and how that's going to be paid.
We're going to put it on your vision board.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. Olivia,
Yeah.
thank you so much for spending
welcome.
your morning, afternoon with us.
This is fun.
I have just really enjoyed this, and you're a very intelligent woman.
Thank you.
You're not just a
Appreciate
pretty
that.
face. Look at
Aw,
that.
thank you.
Look at
Not
that.
just a pretty face.
You're not just a pretty face.
No, and we didn't really talk that much about real estate. You're
No.
powerhouse in real
Thank you.
estate. And
Thank
how's
you.
the last couple of years been for you?
Well, like I said, I feel like I've been through a bit of a pivot.
Yeah.
I've had some challenges that I did not expect. I'll be 50 this year. That's actually why we're going on this cruise. It's Rocco's 13th birthday this year
Aw.
and my 50th, so I'm treating us to this spring break vacation. But I'm in a bit of a, what I'll just call like just being humbled and kind of starting over a little bit,
Yeah.
maybe reinventing a little bit, because what happened, and can I say something really quick? Some of the people that were really the worst to me, really mean, I'm talking like nasty messages, all the things, some of the people that were so mean to me and did the most damage to my business have since apologized to me.
You want to name some of them right now?
Yeah.
No.
No, that's well, that's
well,
good
look
because
at
they
that.
probably got to know you as a person, and
Yeah.
they went, "Gosh, I was saying these," because
Yeah.
it's real easy to be a keyboard warrior, and but as soon as you start to know
Yeah.
you're a mom and you care about your community, you're like,
Yes.
"Oh God, that
What do
was
you
really
think that
mean."
was about them? That
They just flat out, honestly, they just flat out saw that I supported Trump and made every
Assumption
All of a
that-
sudden, nothing else mattered, and they didn't know me in every way. And keep in mind, these were people that I said, I would love to have coffee with you. Like,
Yeah.
is there anything? I'm a mom. I grew up in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I would actually try to have that exact conversation.
Yeah.
Like, I grew up, which is, a single dad, and he died when I was young. And here's like my whole story. And one of them, gosh, if she ever listens to this, she absolutely berated me and tried to humiliate me for not having a college education. And I said,
Jeez.
I didn't finish college, but I grew up with a single dad. My mom left me. I watched my mom leave me when I was on a school bus, and I watched her leave when I was 8 years old. I bought my first house when I was 23 years old. I owned 3 homes by the time I was 27. I mean, I'm like, how dare you? And by the way, do you know how hard I work to make sure that our students that are not college bound are military ready and career ready and have certificates in welding and have vet and science certificates and are going into health sciences, and how hard I work for every student, regardless if they have the desire or the ability to go to a 4-year college. Anyway.
well, welcome
That-
to
well,
the
that-
No College Degree podcast.
Yeah,
Because
none of us. But that is such a the people get sold this bill of goods. The only way to succeed in life is to have a college degree. No, there's a lot of other ways to succeed, and people that are determined like you
Yep.
and that want to do a good job.
Yep.
Are, you can make it. You can do big
I
things.
had from Dripping Springs High School, none of my
This
kids.
is one of your favorite shows that I watched. I sent it to so many people.
None of my kids came out of high school from Dripping Springs and went into college. I had one that did. One took a gap year, and
Okay.
I made him get a certificate.
Yep.
The other one went right into the military.
Love it.
Has since gotten his degree and is in a year and a half away from finishing med school. And my third one, my daughter, went to trade school, and she makes more money than all of us
Yeah.
combined.
I love it.
So let me tell you, and now my oldest now has his master's degree also.
I love it.
So let me tell
love
you,
it.
it's, there's not the straight and narrow path,
There's
and I have
not.
talked about that with Dripping Springs High School over and over again because it was just very college centric,
Yep.
and they were only I felt like they were only celebrating the college bound kids, and I'm like, you're right. What about the trade school kids?
Yep.
What about the military kids?
Military, yeah.
What about So I applaud you for that.
Thank you for saying that. The year before last, we had, last year, sorry, we had 600, how long exactly, but I think it was like 621, I know we're going.
Oh, there you
like
go.
621 graduates, and of that, again, my number's not going to be 100%, but we had, I think, 231 certifications. Now, we still have like a 98% graduation rate and something like 94, 95% that are going on to a 4-year. But what matters, 4 years, great. But how many of those are leaving certified who could go get a job,
Right.
who are going to have advanced placement at the 4 year? So it's a passion and it's a directive. And because of this board and the will of this board, you're going to see more and more and more in that. And it's a direct reflection of our community.
We are also, this area, this Texas Hill Country area, we are also one of the highest areas in the entire country that our kids either go into the military or go into the service academies.
We need to do more. We'll focus on. We'll talk about that more later. But we need to do more with ROTC and military stuff.
We need ROTC. I've tried. Yeah, we've tried.
We got to get there.
Well, and this is a whole other topic for another day, but AI is going to do away with a lot of the jobs that college-educated kids have. It's going to be really hard to have AI take over somebody that is a welder or air
or
conditioning
put your hot water
or a
heater in.
plumber. Yeah, those jobs are more AI-proof than
Love it.
Or
you
a
know, somebody
Michelle.
that's a financial analyst.
Try
Yes.
to AI me.
Yeah, exactly.
Good luck.
Yeah, the
Never.
Michelle of all trades. Well, Olivia, I could talk to you for hours
is
and
fun.
hours.
We'll do it again,
Yeah,
maybe.
we will. We need to do it again. And you're a treasure for this community, and the school board is lucky to have you.
Thank you.
Sitting with them, and you know, I'm going to look forward to getting to know you a little bit better. But thanks
Good.
for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you,
guys.
friend.
Thank
We
you. Thank
appreciate
you,
it.
friend.
Friday the 13th.
Yes,
Today
I know,
is Friday,
I
so
know.
we're recording on Friday the 13th. I heard in the news, okay, on TikTok.
Are we not going to talk about Olivia?
Well, we are going to talk
Okay,
about
okay.
Olivia, but Friday the 13th, 2020 was the last normal, like when the world was
Oh,
semi-normal,
yeah,
and
yeah.
now Friday the 13th, 2026. Hopefully, the
world's going to shift
it's gonna-
back.
Yeah.
From your mouth to God's ears, please,
well-
please, can we shift back to where we were
Yeah.
in early March of 2020?
Yes. Although I did like the traffic during COVID.
That was kind of
really
nice.
good.
I know. I could get out of my neighborhood without even slowing
Yeah,
down.
and traveling. But you know, we had Olivia Barnard on there. Oh my gosh,
She's awesome.
yeah,
I could have
she's-
talked to her for hours.
and we almost did.
That was a long one, but I think we'll have to have her back because there was a bunch of things that we wanted to talk to her about that we didn't even get to touch. So she's a very busy woman, and the school board's lucky to have her.
Yeah, we really are.
Yeah. Hey, I've got a couple of stories. One real easy one that I was kind of surprised by. I came across this today. America's 10 sexiest accents, ranked from most to least sexy. What do you think the most sexy American accent is?
Texan.
Texas is number one. Southern American English, which is Texas, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and Arkansas, is considered the sexiest accent.
We are the greatest country in the world,
Okay.
Texas. I have been told, I'm a 6th generation Texan, that I do not have an accent. But when
you go other places, yeah, they always say, "Oh, I love your accent."
Well,
Like,
there's
I don't
certain-
have an accent.
there's certain things that I say that
Yeah.
are accent. But see, I also grew up speaking Spanish and English, so I think
in the
my
valley.
accent is probably a little. And I say that word PUT. I say put.
Put.
Yeah, I say put. And there's a lot of other things that I say that I speak Michelle. As a matter of fact, today I said something to you and I said it totally wrong. And I said, wait, did you just hear what I said? I said, Steve, did you see the TSA longs were lying?
And I went, yeah, and I knew exactly
and I
what
was
you
like,
were saying.
Did you hear what I said? I think you now
It's
understand.
Michelle speak, yeah. Here's a couple other ones that surprised me, but second was Louisiana Cajun English.
Oh,
which,
okay,
I'll go along with that.
I can see that. Morgan, our little friend
Yeah,
Morgan,
yeah,
she's
yeah.
got the cutest
Yeah,
little
that
accent.
is-
By the way,
yeah.
she just had a little baby
Little
girl.
baby, yeah, so cute. The third one surprised me, New York City English. I don't think New York City English is sexy at all.
Okay, but you have to think about it. New York City or New Jersey? Okay, so New Jersey, no.
This says New York
Okay.
City and surrounding metro areas.
No, I'm going to have to agree to
Yeah, I
disagree.
think actually I'm going to say Southern American English and Louisiana Cajun English 1 and 2 are sexy accents. I think the rest of these 8, I'm going to just say no, I don't agree with it.
Okay, give me
They're-
some more.
Miami English,
Oh, well, that's more Cuban, I think.
Yeah.
So, okay.
California English, like come on, that was 6. Boston,
You can go park the car. Okay,
Yeah,
wait. So
park the car.
California is, gag me with a spoon.
gag me with a spoon. Yeah, Philadelphia English was 9th, and Appalachian
like
English was
fourscore.
10th.
Okay,
I think actually this list 1 and 2, they could have just said the 2 most sexy accents in the U.S. and
They
just
were
left
reaching.
it at that.
They were just reaching.
I think they were. Yeah, Appalachian English. It's like
Appalachian English. Do you have to have all your teeth?
I think there has to be a banjo playing every time you open your mouth.
That's Louisiana, wasn't that from that movie?
No,
What was that?
No, I think that was in the
Was it?
Carolina Mountains.
I don't know. I was forbidden to watch that movie when I was a kid, but I think
that was a bad movie. I'd still get nightmares
You
about
know what
that.
movie I watched more times when I was a kid than I cared about? Patton.
Oh, that's a good movie.
No,
though.
I didn't. Yeah, I know.
That's a
But
great
like,
movie.
what was that actor's name? George, who played Patton, and I remember him standing in front of a big American flag.
Flag with his pantaloon
This
pants.
is why
or
I
whatever.
am the way I am, because
Yeah.
that was my stepfather's favorite movie.
Who was that? George.
I can't-
we're so bad with we must be getting old. Can't remember.
Where
people's
am
names. I have no idea. But anyway, if you're from Texas, guess what? You have a sexy accent.
Oops.
Oh, you breaking things over
I
there.
was just knocking all the water bottles over. Yeah, we are. I don't think you have an accent. I don't.
I don't have no accent. I think I do have a little bit. When I travel, people say, "Oh, I like your little Texas twang." I don't think I have one, but they
Poser,
do say
you
that.
little faker.
Yeah, I'm
Little
living my
faker.
little cosplay life.
You eat at Luby's one time and think you're a Texan.
I'm a Texan now.
You
I'm an
do-
official Texan.
Hey, I think I showed it to you, the video of the McDonald's CEO eating
Yes.
their new Big Arch hamburger, and it has been mocked all over social media, and he's taking
And
like
rightfully so.
he looks first disgusted when he takes it out of the box. He's like, "Bleh." Like he just looks like he
Well,
wants
then
to.
he goes over the top, like, "Oh my God, it's so big," and it's like 1.5 inches thick. Like it looks like it's been sitting on the shelf for a couple days.
And he takes like the micro mini bite,
Yeah.
and like he doesn't have anything on his mouth. But then you mentioned it too. Burger King did this whole rebuttal video,
Yeah.
and he's got mayonnaise dripping down his face.
he
and-
like stuffs half the burger in his face.
Well, so the internet was having a field day with this, and they were saying, okay, so now imagine a CEO of X company doing whatever they're doing.
Oh,
And so
yeah.
I ran through some of them, and I thought they were pretty funny. Okay, the CEO of IKEA building a piece of furniture. The CEO of Duracell opening a pack of batteries.
Oh God, yeah.
How about the
Where you slice your hand open every time you open up one of those.
True. How about the CEO of Popeyes eating 2 of their biscuits with no drink? This one I can
That's a trip to the ER.
This one I can personally relate to, and you've seen me online here do it. The CEO of Ticketmaster trying to buy concert tickets during a pre-sale.
geez, yeah.
There was that time I was trying to buy, I don't even remember what tickets, I think it was Dave Chappelle, and I was online for like 3 hours, and I kept going back. I was like, oh my God,
Yeah, I
they're
do
trying to get
remember
these
that.
tickets. The CEO, here's another one I feel personally offended by, of Marshalls or TJ Maxx taking the stickers off of their products.
Oh God.
Because it comes in like, it's like
Yeah.
72 different parts when you peel one corner, and then you still have every little corner. How about the CEO of any airline in a middle seat in normal economy on a cross-country flight?
Oh jeez.
Okay. The CEO of Kleenex taking the first tissue out of the box. This one's pretty funny. I've always thought this one was like very oxymoronic. The CEO of Big Scissors should get a pair of scissors out of their package without using their scissors.
What are big scissors?
Well, they're just like scissors, big
gotcha.
scissors, not
Yeah,
like little
yeah.
scissors. But yeah, I mean, like they give you scissors and they're in that shrink wrap.
yeah.
You're like, how am I supposed to?
Modern packaging is out of control as it is. I get stuff in the mail. I'm like, how the hell am I supposed to open this?
How am I going to do this? The CEO of HP setting up a printer. That's going to be me in the
Geez,
next
yeah,
couple
I
of
know.
days
We
when we
got
get
one
that
on the
printer.
way.
This one was funny. The CEO. Did you ever make Kraft macaroni and cheese for your kids?
Yeah.
The CEO of Kraft macaroni and cheese putting their thumb through the mac and cheese box. You know, the
Yeah,
little.
that little tab. Yeah.
How about Planet Fitness trying to cancel their membership?
Oh,
that one was
God,
funny.
yeah.
The CEO of Indeed getting hired for a job.
Fired for another job.
Yeah, and you can relate to this one this weekend. How about the CEO of Coleman trying to get one of their sleeping tents back into the little
Oh
pouch.
yeah, no, that's so true. Yeah, you buy any tent product, you pull it out of the bag, it's never going
They
back
give you
in there
this
the
little
right way.
4x4.
Yeah, they must have like robots packing those things in the factory. There's no way a normal human being gets those things to go back
Yeah,
in.
you're never getting it back
No.
in. But
Well.
I thought I should do the CEO of Mallett Integrity Team trying to sit at Michelle's desk for.
It ain't gonna happen. Hey, we've talked a lot about this over the last couple of years about people moving across the country, which happened a lot during COVID. It kind of slowed down a little bit. But I have this report from Visual Capitalist, which shows where Americans moved in 2025. And I was actually kind of surprised by this. Texas was one of the highest states where more population moved to, not the highest, but at 23% of people that moved into Texas last year. No, is it percent? No, I'm sorry, 23. Yeah, 23 out of every. I'm actually not sure what this says now.
I don't know.
I'm doing this story and I'm just making it up as I go.
It's like me doing a story. It's true facts-ish.
Yes, it's net migration loss gain per 10,000 inhabitants. So every 10,000 inhabitants, we added 23 more in Texas. Every 10,000 inhabitants in California, they lost 25 inhabitants. That's a lot. So,
What about Washington? I bet you they're going to be losing a
so
lot of people.
Washington lost 10.7, and I bet you that's going to go through the roof.
Yeah, because
with
they have
their,
that wealth tax.
Yeah, which constitutionally they're not supposed to have an income tax, but now they're imposing I think it's 9.9% tax on anything above $1 million. So anybody, the CEO of Starbucks, who has lived in Washington.
That's where they started.
Yeah, he's moving. He's already announced he's moving. And I think a lot of the Californians that are leaving too are also leaving because they're trying to put that billionaire tax on not just your income, but your total net worth.
Are they still doing that unrealized, what is it called? That
Unrealized capital gains.
Yeah, are they still trying to do that?
That's what it is. So if you have, say you're worth $1.1 billion.
Exactly. That is exactly what. How, did you look at my
yeah,
bank account today? What a coincidence!
I think you're 1.1 billion without the billion. So
Yeah,
you're
I think
0.0001. You got a dollar.
I have.
You got a dollar.
I have a dollar.
But yeah, so they're gonna, a lot of these CEOs, these big company corporate people, they have stock, and that stock goes up in value, but they don't have the cash from that stock,
it's funny
and the
money.
stock goes up and down.
Yeah.
So the state of California says you have $1 billion worth of stock here. You need to pay us 10% tax on that $1 billion. I haven't sold it yet, and last month it was worth $800 million. What if it goes down to $800 million? Do I get my money back? No. And every year they're going to make them pay that tax. If I ever was a billionaire, I wouldn't live in California.
Where's Florida on that list? Are they number
Florida
one?
got seven people per 10,000
So they were
inhabitants.
lower. I was surprised. Who's
Yeah,
number
lower
one?
than Texas. Idaho got more residents, and they're saying that a lot of these, so this is per 10,000, so a lot of these California residents probably moved to Idaho.
Why are they moving to Idaho?
Well, they're saying now that people in Idaho are really upset about the changing of their culture up there because people from out of state are coming there and bringing
Racist.
yeah.
Bunch of
But
potato
they're
head
bringing,
racists.
yeah, they're bringing their politics that ruin these other states and trying to impose that on Idaho. New York lost 28. New York lost more people per 10,000 than California did.
Yeah.
New York State.
I saw a video. It said, "Can you imagine?" It was Mendami in his people in the office of the mayor's office. They were sitting there and they were having their prayer session.
Yeah.
And it said, "Can you imagine this picture on September 12th?"
Oh yeah, no.
2000.
No,
Yeah.
People have such short memories.
Mm-hmm.
So here's a couple more highlights. Illinois lost 14.5 people. Alaska lost 17 people. Kansas lost almost 20 people. Massachusetts lost 38. New Jersey lost 17. Maryland lost 27. North Carolina gained 29. Tennessee gained 43. Tennessee's going through the roof. Montana gained. Wyoming gained. Minnesota gained. South Dakota.
Can I just tell you what Google said of the cons of moving to Idaho? Don't look at the screen. I'm going to read them. Look at me. I'm going to read them.
It's cold.
It says, okay, the job market is limited. Poor public schools. Idaho is very white. That's what it says.
No way.
Idaho is known for
Lack of diversity. That's the very first thing Google
it's
says.
very white.
Thank you for pointing that out there, Google.
You know what I first, because there's a picture of the snow-capped mountains, and I was like, very white. I saw the mountains, and I was like, this is coming from the white girl.
Winters can be a brutal affair.
Long
drives and isolation. Actually, that sounds kind of fun to me.
Yes.
Wildfires. I think the wildfires in California are worse than the wildfires in Idaho.
You know, I saw something else too that they were talking about the best places to retire, that people are moving to retire, and Texas was on that list.
Yeah. I think we don't have a state income tax, so you do have the property taxes. But once you buy and you're over 65, you get locked in on your school taxes.
Well, I know California was taxing their retirement funds, but like, you know, I could see Florida, right? I could see Florida, no state tax, but man, the humidity there is
in Florida. I know it's like Houston times 5.
Yes.
Yeah. You drive to Houston, you go, man, it's humid here. If you go to Florida, you're like, oh, geez, this is what real humidity looks like.
You know where I want to go when I retire? Nowhere. I want to stay right in my house.
Yeah.
Like what we were talking to Olivia, like they need to get something figured out for taxes for seniors.
I'm with you. I hope they get that. I've got a couple more years before I retire. Hopefully they get it figured out by then.
You're not retiring. You're not allowing.
Who
am I going to pick on? I have to pick on my own husband?
I will have to come in work until the day I die. And according to Michelle, even after the day I die, I come into work. So.
Steve told me he's going to get rid of his cell phone. He's going to change his number. But I'm going to find you. I'm going to find you. I'm going to get a drone.
I will disappear from social media. My cell phone number will be changed. No.
All you got to do is just keep hiking. I will never find you.
You'll never find me.
Ever.
I'll be in Big Bend for 2 years, staying up in the mountains.
You should be a forest ranger when you grow up.
I actually thought maybe I should retire and be a forest ranger. They require a college degree, which I do not have.
You could get those big long socks and wear them so you don't get chigger
Can wear
bites.
shorts with a big long socks?
Yeah.
Oh, could I get like a little pocket protector?
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to be a park ranger.
I want to be a park ranger.
I think that would be a job I would really enjoy, but except for all the stupid hikers asking, hey, is it okay for me to hike up here without any water 20 miles? No, that's not okay.
Oh.
Or in the Grand Canyon when people go, no, I don't have a headlight or anything. I'm going to use my cell phone light tonight when I go hike up the canyon. People do that all the time. Rangers tell them not to, but they still do it.
I liked the story of Olivia talking about going to the ranch with D.R. Horton
in the middle of nowhere.
Did you see the new episode of Marshalls? You talked about Yellowstone. Have you seen the new episode? I think it was Marshalls. Was that?
That's the offshoot of
No.
Yellowstone.
You know what? I was getting, because we were watching Yellowstone. It was one of the last seasons of Yellowstone, and
so tired.
They made a I know I'm tired. They made a camp on top of a rattlesnake den. And there were rattlesnakes everywhere.
That was Yellowstone.
Was it Yellowstone?
Yeah, it was when Rip brought a bunch of them down to Texas.
Texas, yeah. And the girl that Michael Landon's daughter, what's her name? The orange chocolate. That's not a Texan accent.
What's her name? Not Scooter.
Skeeter? I don't know.
Skeeter,
I don't know
something
what
like
her name is.
Yeah. God, we just went off on a tangent there, Michelle.
It's been a week.
It's been a week. Thank you all for going on this journey with us. I know we went down a long, dusty road there, but thanks for everybody for being. I can't even say that right. Thanks everybody for being here and listening to us today.
I need cue cards.
Yeah, I know.
I need cue cards.
We will talk to you next week.
We'll see you next week.